Hey guys, thanks for joining us here on Talking Umbrellas YouTube channel. As you know, we've been talking to families who have gone to Disney, who have experienced Disney in this new and different age and time. And today we have Gabe and Jessica, who've just gotten back from their Disney vacation. And we've been talking to them about their vacation and what they thought about all the things that Disney is doing different during these different times. So Gabe and Jessica, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Jeremy.
Well, you're very welcome. So you stayed at what resort?
Contemporary.
At the Contemporary. Y'all stayed in the Garden Wing, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
All right. First of all, how was the check-in process at the resort? What were some differences you noticed? You've been to Disney before. How was the check-in process for you?
We actually didn't even have to go to the desk, to the front desk. Mm-hmm. We were able to check in remotely and we had an old armband, but you can also use your phone as your key,
right,
to get into the room. And it was actually ready at 12:30.
So when you guys got there, they sent you a text. Did they send you a text message to tell you your room was ready with the room number?
Yeah, and they sent us all a notification through the app.
Right, through the My Disney experience.
Awesome. So essentially, you never went to the front desk?
We actually did go because we only had one old armband, magic band, so we had to get some new magic bands, but we got everything settled in our room, walked to the front desk, and then walked to Magic Kingdom.
Gotcha. Right. So for folks who don't know, Disney is, of course, still sending out magic bands here in 2020. The family that we're talking to today, they did a very, very quick trip, kind of a last-minute trip. And so instead of Disney mailing them their armbands, they were able to pick them up. Now, when you pick up your magic bands, did you have a choice of colors or did you get the gray ones?
We got colors. It was like red, blue, green, basic colors.
Yeah, you were able to choose whatever color you wanted.
Awesome. Good. Yeah.
The only difference is it doesn't have your name on it.
Right. Right. Of course. So I can tell, like I said a moment ago, I know that this was a last-minute decision to travel. Did you have any concerns as you guys were getting ready to travel before you were traveling? Any concerns at all with everything that's going on?
Not really. No, because I didn't, because I talked to my trusty Disney travel agent.
That's right.
And he reassured me that it was safe and they were following the proper protocols. And honestly, in the entire state of Florida, people were doing what they were supposed to be doing.
So what at your specific resort at the Contemporary, what did you see your resort doing when it came to health and safety?
Definitely just masks required everywhere,
pretty much sanitizer,
pretty much everywhere except the pool, I think.
Yeah, actually you had to wear them to the pool, but you could take them off if you got in the pool. And if you were stationary sitting in your chair by the pool, you could take it off. But anytime you were moving without going directly into the pool, you had to have the mask on. I mean, at our resort, there were people in the corridors, inside and outside, with the mask on, as well as markings on the floor for if you had to stand in line anywhere for social distancing.
Gotcha. And the question that everybody wants to know is they've seen the pictures of the crowds, and everybody keeps saying that the crowds are good. Tell us about your experience with any crowds you may have experienced at Disney at all, or was it pretty much like the pictures that you see?
It was pretty much like the pictures you see. I will give you a prime example. We went to Disney last year, and our wait time for Pandora Flight of Passage was
3 hours.
3 hours plus. And when we went this time, it was 35 minutes. So,
that is
you know, the only ride that we unfortunately weren't able to ride was the new Star Wars ride. And it wasn't because of lines. It was because it actually was not working, or there was some type of malfunction. And unfortunately for Gabe.
Yeah, what happened was I'd gotten in a boarding group. I had gone all the way through the line. And, you know, there's a little queue area where, like, they say, oh, you're about to join the resistance. And then they take you to a secondary location where you're about to get on, like, a spaceship. And as you're boarding the spaceship, you know, they stop you. They stopped me and they told me, you know, sorry, sir, but the ride has unfortunately broken down. So what they did for me was they just gave me a fast pass for just any ride at the park.
But then the next day, we actually got a text message. Unfortunately, it was when we were on our way almost home. Well, we weren't almost home, but we were about 3 hours outside of Orlando when we got the message that he could actually was back in the queue. So they do go back and try to get those people in as well.
There's always next time.
right. So Gabe, since you said you got a boarding pass using the app, how did you go at the 10 o'clock time or the 2 o'clock time trying to get a boarding pass?
I had got a boarding pass for the 2. No, was it?
It was a 2.
Yeah, it was 2.
We
for
didn't,
the first
we didn't
day,
get
it
it
was 2.
for the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And for folks at
Somebody
home that
wasn't
don't,
at the park.
for folks that at home that don't know, if you're going to ride Rise of the Resistance, you have to make what's called a boarding pass. You have to be in the park on the day you want to make that pass, and you have
Not
to
in
try for
line
it
to
at
be in the park.
10 o'clock and at 2 o'clock. 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And as Gabe was just saying a moment ago, he wasn't able to get in the 10 o'clock, but he was able to get in the 2 o'clock. And then, of course, the ride did break down on him. But so, Gabe, I know that you are just a little Star Wars fan.
I've seen them once or twice.
How did you like Batuu and Black Spire Outpost?
Words literally cannot describe how immersive and just whimsical the whole experience was. You know, all the cast members are in character. You know, they don't say hello and goodbye. They say, you know, bright suns, you know, till the spires. You know, if it's a long wait in line, they'll be like, oh, what planet are you from? You know, are you liking Black Spire Outpost? But, you know, it's great. And there's even little details like when you go to pay for something, like they won't say, you know, that'll be like $10, $15. That'll be like, oh, that'll be 10 or 15 credits, you know, because that's the Star Wars currency, I'm told.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, I know you really like that jacket you're wearing. So go ahead and just give us a look at that jacket.
Big fan. You know, I got it at the Resistance Outfitters because a lot of things have actually been moved around in Black Spire Outpost, because originally the Resistance store is by the Rise of the Resistance, but they've actually moved it into another location in the marketplace where the Black Spire Outfitters was originally. But other than that, you know, same old Batuu.
So, Jessica, did you and your family, I'm sorry, you had something, Jessica?
I was saying he was able to go to the cantina also.
Yeah, and I was going to elaborate a little bit more because you wanted to ask us about the dining, right?
That was my next question, was how was y'all's dining experiences? What did y'all experience while you were there?
We actually, Gabe would not wait for us to get ready to go to the parks. So we would have to catch up with him. And on our second day, my girls and I went to Coral Reef, and it was amazing. The menu selections are much less than normal. It's a scaled back menu, but it was delicious. It was Disney standard, Disney service. They were doing tables were social distance. Waiters and the entire wait staff was wearing masks. So it was nothing different than what you would normally experience in any regular time.
Did you order fish while looking at the fish?
Actually, Sarah did have mahi-mahi, and I had
Okay.
shrimp. So they only had three main entrees, and we each got a different one so we could try the different ones.
Yeah.
And then another night we went to Kona. I would have preferred to go to Ohana, but it is not back open yet.
Did y'all do any of the quick service locations while y'all were at the parks?
Yes, we did Cosmic Rays, the first day in Magic Kingdom. In Hollywood.
Did y'all do Ronto or docking? They did Docking Bay 7.
Yeah, we did
and I
Docking
did
Bay 7.
Ronto Roasters.
How'd you like the Ronto Roasters?
Delicious. Breakfast and lunch variation.
You did breakfast and lunch at Ronto with the Ronto Roasters?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've done the breakfast, the Ronto wrap breakfast, and it's really, really good. Yeah, really good.
Elizabeth had something for lunch because actually Sarah and I ate at the Ronto Roasters, but she ate at the Docking Bay, and I think it was maybe like some pot roast or something, but she said it was very good.
Yeah, everybody's really raving about Docking Bay 7. Originally, Gabe, you probably know this, they did all like true Star Wars terms, and people didn't know
it's all like Endor and stuff, you know.
They didn't know what they were eating, and so they had to kind of
Give it back, I guess.
Yeah. So you're back home. You've been back home for a couple of days. Jessica, I'll ask you first. What was your favorite part of this different type of Disney vacation?
I actually kind of like the fact that as a family, we just, we talked about it on a Monday. I texted you and you kind of reassured me that it wouldn't be any different than any other Disney trip. Actually, it's a little more special and better because we didn't have a whole lot of time to spend an entire, like a normal Disney trip. So we only went for 4 days and 3 nights, but we were able to do in 4 days and 3 nights what would have taken probably 6 or 7 days and, 5 or 6 nights.
Yeah.
So because there's so few people, the only downside that I can see is not everything is, not all of the experience is there, but we just went last year. So we saw all of, other than maybe a few of the Star Wars things.
Yeah, Star Wars wasn't open.
Yeah, Star Wars opened the month after our trip last year. So it was, like you said earlier, it was a very unexpected trip, but definitely not disappointing in any way.
And Gabe, what was your favorite experience of this different kind of Disney vacation?
I think just the fact that not everything was so rushed, if that makes sense. On a normal Disney vacation, it's almost like you have to fit so much into a certain amount of time because, you're might not be able to do everything because, you have to, organize when your fast passes are and your meals are. But, when we went, you just got to the park, you did what you wanted to do, and then you left,
That was probably the biggest plus of all was you didn't have to rush from place to place with the fast pass. However, our last day there, I did notice that some people had fast passes, and it could have been what Gabe was talking about, like people who had gotten them because they weren't able to ride the other Star Wars ride.
Right.
There weren't many people, but they did have a few.
That's typically when you're seeing that, especially around this time, these different times, those folks are getting those because something has happened at a certain ride and they've been sent to another ride. Because used to, if a ride broke down on your phone, if a fast pass wasn't going to work, they would replace that fast pass with an anytime fast pass. But nowadays, that's not possible.
Right.
And I've noticed a lot of families that have traveled during this time have said, like, in a typical Disney vacation, you're booking your dining at 180 days. You're booking your fast passes at 60 days. You're selecting your magic bands at 30 days. Now it's just kind of like these families have said they can kind of just go and experience Disney. There's not a whole lot of planning involved other than making sure we've made our payments and making sure that how to do certain things. And of course, that's where a Disney travel professional comes in. While you guys were there, did you have any concerns? You were experiencing things where people typically were they following the rules? Did you have any concerns like that while you were in the parks?
No, people were definitely following the rules, and they had people who were, on the ball, making sure people were following the rules. I remember one specific time, I was going into Hollywood Studios, and I had worn a mask that wasn't allowed. It had like a little filter in it.
That's a new thing that, yeah, you need.
Because they don't allow like gaiters, certain masks that have filters, and, they're like, excuse me, sir, unfortunately, we don't allow that type of mask. And thankfully, a family behind me had some extra surgical masks, so I was able to get in. But
Yeah, and I'm almost positive that change happened almost like in the middle of y'all's trip.
It did. It happened. It actually happened the second day of our trip because Elizabeth had worn the one with the filter.
Yeah, we had worn those to Magic Kingdom the day before.
Right, and then the next day they informed us that you could not wear the mask with the filter. So,
and for families who are going to be traveling soon, Disney has, as Gabe and Jessica both said, they've changed that policy. Now the mask with the filter is no longer allowed. Also, the gaiters that you pull up, those are still not allowed in Disney parks. Bandanas are not allowed. Mesh masks are not allowed, and bandanas are not allowed. So the typical over your ears mask, the surgical mask, as Gabe just said, the disposable mask, all of those are the masks now that are required if you want to go to the Disney parks. For guest ages 2 and up, those are required.
They actually, I mean, and they do actually have masks in the park to buy, and they're relatively reasonable. They're no more than what it would cost anywhere else.
Right.
The
Disney,
$6 or $8 maybe.
Actually, the Disney mask before tax are $5.99.
There you go.
And then you also can do like a 4 for $20 deal as well. So one more question for you guys before I let you go. And again, I'll ask Gabe. I'll ask you this question first, and then Jessica, I'll ask you as well. You're home. You've now had some time to reflect on this different type of Disney vacation. So Gabe, I'll ask you first. Would you recommend someone traveling to Disney during these different times?
Without a doubt. It's definitely a strange time, on planet Earth, but, I definitely would say it's safe, and I would recommend it for sure.
Okay. And Jessica?
Oh, I absolutely would recommend it because it's the expectation that everyone is going to do what they're supposed to do, and they actually do, because everyone there wants to be there, therefore they are following the rules. And if you aren't, they're polite and just say, I think you cannot drink and walk at the same time, so you have to be stationary to eat or drink, which actually changed right before we got there. And as long as you're stationary and you can have your mask off. If you're sitting at a table drinking a cup of coffee, you can have your mask off. And I will tell you that I wore that mask for 4 days in 105-degree heat, and it was not a big deal.
Yeah.
It all depends on the kind of mask you get too. The better mask you get, the better you are.
Oh, absolutely. We actually brought several different types of masks, including the throwaway, the surgical ones that we brought those, and then we brought some that were made homemade, and then we bought some from a store. But all of them we were able to use, except for the one with the filter, and we didn't really have a problem. If we got hot, we just changed the mask.
Right.
So,
any last advice, any last information you want to share with the guests before we let you go?
If you're gonna drink around the world, remember it's a marathon, not a sprint. Pace yourself. And the mimosas in Morocco, to die for.
I meant to ask you about your experience with the Taste of the Food and Wine Festival. Did you enjoy that new and different kind of festival?
It was my first time ever experiencing that type of thing, and it was a lot of different type of drinks. I remember they had a Pinot Noir that was Kurt Russell's brand, and some very good macaroni and cheese. Actually, it was just this breaded macaroni and cheese with like a scoop of French onion dip for some reason. Odd combination, but I loved it.
Yeah. What Gabe's talking about is Disney has taken the Food and Wine Festival that normally happens in August, September. They took the Flower and Garden Festival, which normally happens until about June. They combined those together, and they're calling it a taste of the Food and Wine Festival. And it's going from July till the end of the year. So if you go to Disney in 2020, you're going to have an opportunity to enjoy a taste of the Food and Wine Festival. Well, if you would like to experience Disney in this new and different time, you can always reach out to Talking Umbrella Travel and let us help you plan a magical trip. You can email us at talkingumbrella@gmail.com. You can also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Talking Umbrella as well. From all the agents at Talking Umbrella, Gabe and Jessica, thank you for letting us talk with your family today. We hope you all had a great vacation.
We did.
Thank you.
Thank you.